Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, presented by Jimmy's Egg. I'm Chris Link, along with the coaches, and of course our TPS Athletic Director, Hall of Famer Gil Cloud, legendary Hall of Fame basketball coach J.V. Haney. Guys, a great show. It's a show of champions.
Yeah, we had really a good championship show with Lauren Montgomery from the Bixby Spartans to come in, the 6A2 state champion. And, I think, Bixby, 4 out of the last 5 years.
Unbelievable. Great job at Broken Arrow, too. We'll have highlights of the Broken Arrow game, of course. Their great victory over Jenks, their first ever state championship coach. About 100 years of football at Broken Arrow.
Well, that's why I thought it was going to be so difficult for them to win. Yeah. Because they've had good teams in the past, but they couldn't quite get over that hump. Now that they're over, you better watch them.
Conference football championships in college football. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about, obviously, the college football playoff system and the Final Four there. And look ahead to the Heisman Trophy possibilities as well. We'll also have Terrell Lester on to talk about a big event coming up the end of the month.
Terrell Lester is the historian for the Tournament of Champions. And, of course, this will be the 54th edition of the Tournament of Champions. And what a great lineup we have this year. More number one teams than we've had in the past 7 years are in the tournament this year right now.
And this, of course, is the show where we always introduce our Oklahoma Prep Players of the Month and the Coach of the Month. Henry Primeaux, Mitsubishi, sponsoring that for us. Barry Lewis, the Tulsa World, will be here along with Henry. And both these guys will tell you also are state champions. All right, guys, let's get into college football conference championship games now. The big one, of course, Pac-12 played on Friday night. Washington beat Utah in a real thriller, 10-3. Northern Illinois beat Buffalo to win the MAC championship. Then Saturday, full of great college football. And, of course, the feature, 11 a.m., the kickoff down at AT&T Stadium. Oklahoma Sports Scene was there with a big victory for OU.
We couldn't get out of our chair.
Oh,
I mean, it was absolutely unbelievable to sit there from 11 o'clock until 10 o'clock that night and watch some outstanding Division I football. Yeah. I mean, the games were played hard. You know that there was a lot on the line. Yeah. On every one of those games. And, I tell you, I thought Oklahoma acquitted themselves very well after their first loss by 3, 48-45 at the buzzer.
Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. And literally, I thought played well on both sides of the ball. I think the two biggest plays in the Oklahoma game were the missed extra point, which kept it tied at that point, and then the sack, the blitz from the corner, when the cornerback came in and got the safety on Ellinger. I thought that was the two, because now they have to kick off and Oklahoma has the ball again. So I think those were two great big plays.
That was our Tulsa Union kid, Trey Brown, with that great safety. What a hit he put on Ellinger, the Texas quarterback. Wow.
But, going back to the OU-Texas game, to me, the defense that Oklahoma had was so much better than they've had in those tight situations in the past. And I thought that there was no doubt they were going to win because they were able to stop them.
The last 2 weeks, the week before in the conference game, they had 2 touchdowns on defense. That's 14 points.
They shut out Texas in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Texas ran 18 plays in the fourth quarter, 11 netted 2 yards or less. So who knows? Maybe we're a defensive team now, Coach.
Well, could be.
I don't know. It's going to be exciting to see, though, for sure. Other conference championship games, the one that really, of course, helped Oklahoma, the SEC title game. Georgia jumped out to the big lead. Alabama fought back. We needed Alabama to win that game.
Alabama played really well. They didn't play as well as they'd played through the year. They had some dings, had some injuries, and, of course, their quarterback goes down. Yeah. And how ironic is it that it's exactly the opposite from a year ago?
Right, the championship game.
Jalen Hurts comes in for Tua and wins the football game for them. And I tell you, I was concerned when Tua went down because I knew Hurts was there.
Right.
But he hasn't played so much in big-time games, and to be able to come in the game at that point and do what he did, running and throwing the football, but it's next man up, and that's how you got to play it.
I couldn't help but think that you think that Alabama would let them win, and as a result of that, both of them would get back into the Final Four.
Well, I heard that conversation.
I hate to think that.
I thought, I don't think they would really do that. The fourth quarter, they woke up.
They did. They came back to play.
But Oklahoma's in the Final Four, vying again for the national championship, and that's for the Sooners. It's going to be the third time in the last 4 years, the second in a row for second-year head coach Lincoln Riley at OU. So great job by the Sooners. But our man Thomas Walkingsstick was at AT&T Stadium and get some of the action for us here. Let's take a look.
Sooner Nation, we just got some great news before we take off. Can't wait to play again. Boomer Sooner. See you soon.
Boomer Sooner. Boomer.
Good job there, Thomas. Had a lot of fun at AT&T Stadium. And how about Lincoln Riley's comment? Waiting to hear the results. You got it right before he took off to go on a recruiting trip.
You got to go to work.
That's right.
You got to go recruit some more players. I mean, they lose some seniors, and I thought it was interesting. Of the four, he was the only one working.
Yeah, that's right.
Dabo's eating pizza there at the deal, you know, and when they couldn't find Saban for a while.
And Urban Meyer campaigning.
Yeah, right.
Kirby Smart for Georgia campaigning.
Right.
Didn't do him any good at all, did it?
Not a bit. You know, just whining, I think. There was a lot of whining by Urban Renewal. But
Semifinals, what do you think of the matchups here? Clemson, Notre Dame, and Alabama, Oklahoma.
I don't think you can match it any way and pick a winner in each one of them. I mean, I really feel, and I'm prejudiced, but I really feel Oklahoma has a good chance against Alabama.
Well, I like the fact that the Vegas boys think Oklahoma has no chance. They've already made a 2-touchdown, 14-point underdog in their Orange Bowl game with Alabama, and Clemson is a 13-point favorite over Notre Dame. But you're right, JB, because the last time we were 14-point underdogs to Alabama, I went to that Sugar Bowl. What happened in that one, Coach?
I tell you, let me just tell you, you cannot match those games. There's so many variables that go into that game day experience. Who gets hurt between now and then? Who gets well between now and then? You know, what happens in practice? Does somebody get suspended from the team? And I tell you, my Final Four would have been Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, and Georgia.
Interesting.
Because I did not think that Notre Dame's strength of schedule matched up with the rest, and that is one of the criteria that the committee
And nobody
said.
challenged Notre Dame.
Nobody. They said they were in from day one almost.
But, you know, Kyler Murray, the quarterback for Oklahoma.
Unbelievable.
He is unbelievable. And I think that a result of what he can do, and he seems to play against pressure even better. Pressure don't bother him.
Alabama has not seen anything like that.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
In the SEC, they do not have that type of offense.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the run and gun West Coast. It's a combination of a good option offense, a good passing offense. I'm telling you, I don't know that they can stop Alabama, you know, the Oklahoma defense, but I guarantee you, I don't think Alabama can stop the Oklahoma.
Well, I think, you know, that's a good point right there. But when you look at what Murray can do, I mean, they're going to have an extra person just coming out, not covering pass, but coming out to stop him. Because he can just run right straight into a tackler, make a little spin, and just go right.
I think one of the key things that I heard Saban make the statement was he said he's an efficient passer.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's a hell of a lot better than an efficient.
I think so. We're going to find out, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you, the efficiency that he had in the ball game where he threw the one ball that he threw to Calcaterra. I mean, it had to be right in the eye of the needle because the defender was right there. He had him covered. I mean,
how about that one-handed catch? Calcaterra in the end zone for the winning touchdown? Unbelievable.
So that's efficient.
That is for sure. Well, the Big 12 very excited to have 70% of their teams. Of course, the Big 12 actually has 10 teams, so 6 of the 10 teams are going to go bowling, and that starts with Oklahoma State. Guys, they have a December 31st date in Memphis, the Liberty Bowl, good solid bowl. It's a good old team with my Mizzou Tigers, 8-4, number 23 in the nation from the SEC.
You know, I thought it was interesting that Coach Gundy indicated that he was really looking forward to playing a former Big 8, Big 12
I know it, exactly.
partner, and I think that will be a great matchup, and that'll tell us a lot about the difference between the SEC and the Big 12.
And how important is that game going to be for Oklahoma State, Coach, to have that extra practice, especially for that young team?
Well, you know, I am kind of prejudiced. I'm really not kind of. I am prejudiced against teams that are 6-6 playing in a bowl game, to be very honest. Now, I know that from a coaching standpoint, that's great because you get to keep your kids longer. You start working for next year. You can do a lot of things. But where you're trying to establish a particular ranking, I don't know.
Well, here's the problem, and I'll say this unequivocally. The NCAA has to sanction bowl games.
Okay.
They've sanctioned 40.
Yes.
80 teams.
When you get to 80 teams, you're going to have 6-6.
Yeah.
You're going to have 7s and 5s.
That's right.
You can't help but have that. If they cut that back to 20 and really made it special.
Right.
Right now, you know, 80 of the 125 teams get to go. 45 teams sitting home.
And when you see some of those play in the bowl games, why, it looks like that there may be 25% of the people there.
Well, that's the other thing. That's the
Coach, we have two more 6-6 teams from the Big 12. TCU takes their 6-6 record to play Cal in the, I love this, Cheez-It Bowl in Phoenix. That's December 26th. December 27th, 6-6 Baylor plays the Texas Bowl against 6-6 Vanderbilt. Then in the Camping Bowl in Orlando, December 28th, it's West Virginia 8-3 against 9-3 Syracuse. That's a good game. December 20th, San Antonio, the Alamo Bowl, 8-4 Iowa State, their Coach of the Year in the Big 12, against 10-2 Washington State. And our old friend there ought to be kind of exciting. Coach
that will be as interesting, you bet.
And one of the things, before we talk about Heisman possibilities here, the retirement just announced of the legendary coach Bill Snyder at Kansas State. And Gil Cloud's got a more personal note on that in the parting shots, but what a legend.
Yeah, 79 years old, and what I'll tell you that later today in the show is, what do you do when you're 70? You take on a Division I football program, but just think of all the lives that Bill Snyder has touched through those years, those 27 years at K-State, and what he's done. The stadium's named after him. The road to the stadium is named after him. What a tremendous impact on the university.
Hasn't he had a great impact on the players at Booker T. Washington High School?
Oh, yeah. You bet.
That just one.
The Lockett family,
yeah.
You bet,
wow.
Absolutely.
Well, the Heisman Trophy will be awarded on Saturday. Coming up, of course, in New York. The three finalists have been announced earlier this week. Of course, Kyler Murray of the University of Oklahoma, Tua, the Alabama quarterback, and Dwayne Haskins, the Ohio State quarterback. Guys, I think it couldn't have worked out better again for Kyler this past weekend.
I think the way that we hate for a student athlete to be injured.
Oh, sure.
But with Tua going down with the high ankle sprain, and not being able to finish the game, and what Kyler did in the Oklahoma game, and Haskins. Now, I would call Haskins efficient.
Yeah, the Ohio State
game. He didn't make too many mistakes. They moved the football, and I think it was a good, efficient win for them. But it was not a very high-ranked team they played either.
You're prejudiced, right? We're going for Kyler Murray?
Yes.
All right, there it is. Keep your fingers crossed for Kyler Murray and Oklahoma. What a weekend that would be. Final Four and a Heisman Trophy again for the University of Oklahoma. We'll see what happens with that. We'll come back. More championships to talk about, this time with high school football. 6A2 coach from Bixby High School will be here. We'll also recap 6A1, the Broken Arrow Tigers' first big championship ever. Stay with us.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, it won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Oklahoma Sports Scene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. SNB Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
Every minute, every day, and every night, there's someone who needs us. Every week and every year, we bring something new to the way we care for individuals and our communities. Every thought and every action is spent improving the way we imagine health and wellness. Because every child, every woman, and every man deserves the best possible life. St. Francis Health System. Healthcare for life.
Robertson Tire has been locally owned and serving Tulsa for the past 50 years, but we're much more than a tire shop. We handle alignments, oil changes, brakes, and much more. For all our services, coupons, and location information, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
We welcome you back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, presented by Jimmy's Egg. Coach Cloud, we wrapped up the big school championship football games, some great football games and some exciting action there.
Had them all in the metropolitan area, and save for the weather. And our friends, the weathermen,
yes,
and the 2-hour delay, we finally got them in. And what great football games, in spite of the delay, both of the 6A1, 6A2 games were.
And what a crowd at Chapman Stadium for that Broken Arrow Jenks game, Coach.
Well, I'll tell you what, on that Broken Arrow Jinx game, I kept thinking that since Broken Arrow had not won a state championship ever.
Yeah.
Now, when you get in there and start fighting for that gold ball, that first one, I've been there. It is tough to get.
Yeah.
And as a result, where Jinx has been there and gotten so many, that you can expect them to play well. And as a result of it, I thought Jinx was going to win until the flood came.
Especially that first play for Jinx, right?
Exactly.
Boom.
Yeah, and you
80
know,
yards and a touchdown.
When you do that, you think they jump up. But I tell you what, how many times does the team that score first don't win the football game?
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. It happens oftentimes.
Yeah, and a lot, because you get that sense of I'm got this under control, and about that time, here they come. But there were some great games. Carl Albert staying undefeated, 14-0, beating Ardmore, who was 13-1 now.
Wow.
Of course, Bixby, 4 out of the last 5, had a great win over Stillwater, and we thought Stillwater played really, really well the week before against Booker T, and yet they throttled them in the second half. Tuttle, 14-0. What a great program down at Tuttle, and beating Bethany, and then of course Oklahoma City Heritage Hall wins again, 13-1, beats Sulphur, and of course there's a lot of consternation about that private school being in Oklahoma City and the alleged things that go on, but they are dominant and have been dominant in 3A football. So it's the championship season is over. Now we're ready to start. The small school is this week, and because of the weather, pending weather that they're forecasting for Friday and Saturday, they've moved all of those games up to Thursday. So you better check the paper and see when your team in Class 2A, 1A, B, C are going to play, because they have moved them up because of the weather.
Well, our Trevor McKnight was at that 6A1 championship game for Broken Arrow and Jinx, the two titans of 6A1 football. Going at it, let's take a look at some of the color and excitement of that championship game. Great job, Trevor McDaniel. McKnight was that quarterback who left OU anyway. Good job on that. Well, guys, I tell you, again, I was struck by the fact that 9,875 people at a state championship game with a bad weather forecast. That's impressive.
That was a great crowd when you stop and think about how the meteorologists had just absolutely
Coach.
fixed it to the point that who was going to go, but they did go.
It took a interception by Miles Slusher at the goal line with 20 seconds left to lock up the game. Though Jenks was driving again. I tell you, that championship, Jenks has that great championship traditions, Coach.
When you think you can win,
that's
you
right.
believe you can win, you have 50% of the game won at that point. Now you have to execute. And I think the great thing about the Broken Arrow, their execution was so good. They have a senior ball club. If you look at their depth chart, they have a lot of seniors. But what a great opportunity for Broken Arrow and that community. 100 years of football, and
Wow.
they finally win a state championship.
13-0. Congratulations to Coach David Alexander, his staff, and the Broken Arrow Tigers, and everybody connected with the Broken Arrow football program. Coach Alexander will be with us on our next Oklahoma Sports Scene show. He'll bring the gold ball with him. Speaking of gold balls, we'll have one on the set with us with the champion of 6A2. We'll bring in the Bixby High School football coach when we return.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
That is the gold ball, symbolic of the state 6A2 football championship of Oklahoma 2018. And it belongs again and again to the Bixby Spartans 4 times in 5 years. The head coach is with us now, Laura Montgomery. Coach, congratulations to you and the Spartans again.
Thank you. It was a good year, a lot of fun. I'm proud of our kids and community.
Talk about that championship game with Stillwater, an awfully good team too. Beat them 34-13. That pulled away in the second half.
Yeah, I tell you what, Coach Barnard does an excellent job there at Stillwater, and I can't say enough. Probably the best offensive line we faced all year, and then multiple weapons on offense. The running back Quantrell Walker was dynamic. Of course, Coach Gundy's son, and had a couple good wide receivers. But proud of our guys for hanging in there and finally taking over the game.
They had the opportunity, I think, with that offensive line to really try to control it, but I thought you guys played a real physical brand of defense and made them make some mistakes.
Yeah, I tell you, Coach Flowers, our defensive coordinator, is super aggressive. This year we felt like we had a really good back end and we were able to play some man coverage and just some real physical kids up front and held up pretty well. We were a little scared after the first drive because they just moved the ball all the way down the field. But yeah, a very good group, and I'm super proud of our defense. Our defense won us a lot of ball games this year.
And you know what was so amazing to me? A 30-minute delay in starting the game, 2-hour delay, a little more, in the fourth quarter. And then when they came back, they played like they had just started the game. How did you do it?
Well, I made the comment that it'll be a game that everybody remembers for a long time, simply for that. But we had anticipated some delays with the weather forecast and that sort of thing. And what we did is we had our starters go in. It was kind of a humid night anyway, and some of those guys were a bit gassed. And so we cut the tape off of them, had them switch into just some comfortable street clothes, and just got comfortable for a little while. And then when we got word that the storms were about to pass, we retaped them up, and we put in our highlight video that we watched before we take the field and showed that again, and went out there, and our guys were ready to go, which I would anticipate in a state championship game with everything on the line that they were excited and ready to go.
JV and I were both yelling at the TV, get the damn weather thing off there. No, it's driving us crazy, Coach. Obviously, a tough weather situation. You guys handled it so well, though. Your 9th season at Bixby. You've brought this team 5A, 6A. It's in quite a growth for the Bixby Spartans.
Yeah, it's such a growing community. I tell you what, every year our numbers go up, and it's been quite a transition. You know, Coach McGrew, did a phenomenal job, played for several gold balls before I got there. And then when he stepped down, we were making the transition to 6A, which is a difficult transition, and we took a few lumps. And then feel like we've made some progress the last few years as we've grown and our program's grown. And then obviously the split up of 6A we've benefited from. People often ask me what I think of it, and I was like, well, it's been pretty good to us, so of course I like that. But yeah, no, it's been a fun and fast 9 years.
I think it's been an interesting concept. I served on a committee for 12 futile months to try to get a 6A2 in all sports, because the difference in size certainly makes a difference, and it was quite apparent in football, the numbers game and everything. Going forward, do you think that it would benefit other programs if they were in a 6A2 concept?
Yeah, I think so. When you look at each class, the discrepancy is pretty minimal. You know, you're talking about hundreds of students separate the largest from the smallest. And then when you get into 6A, you're looking at Broken Arrow and Union with 5,000. And then, you know, at the bottom, you know, you've got Booker T with 1,300 students. And so it's a big discrepancy. And I don't know that there's a good answer, Coach. When you've got 4 schools with such a large enrollment, maybe now 5 with Mustangs starting to creep up there, and then all the others, you know, sitting there with 2,000 or fewer. So
and one of the things that we tried to sell the Activity Association was that any time that it would go 2.25 ratio from top to bottom, then you would have a discussion should you have another classification. 6A right now is 3.7 from top to bottom. So in other words, the top school is 3.7 larger than the bottom school. Wow. There's no way that's fair. Yeah.
Well, you know, the thing that really gets me is you always try out and you play jinx, don't you? And sometimes you win, maybe, but most of the time you don't.
Right.
That seems to kick the Spartans off to where, I don't know, then they're not going to lose.
Yeah, I tell you, that's been a traditional game. 2000 was my first year coaching, and I was over at Jinx, and we played that game. And we played it the first game of the year every year except for, I think, a 2-year period when we were in the same district. And we feel like it gets us ready to play. We feel like it's a great game for the communities. It's a great game for the kids to play in because the stands are absolutely packed. But no, we broke that streak last year in 2017 for the first time in 40 years. We beat the Trojans, and so that was a big win and an enjoyable process. But no, we think playing the best gets us ready. And then this year we had the opportunity to play a Mansfield Timberview team who just got beat out of the playoffs down in Texas last week, and we're able to come out with a win, and another great thing for our program, getting to play a team of that caliber.
Coach, Becky and I are proud residents of Bixby, Oklahoma. I'm very impressed with the support your program gets. What a great job they've done with facilities over there. I love the Churchill Downs type steeple on top of the press box, too. You know, I always hear a lot of comments about that, and I don't know whether a former architect had a thing for steeples, but I love our press box.
Yeah, it's unique. You don't see it. You know, you don't see a design like that a lot of times, and I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
Excellent.
What does the future look like, real quickly, about 30 seconds? What's it look like in the future?
Well, I tell you what, you know, we started a sophomore quarterback this year. He's a young guy, played great, over 3,000 yards passing. Both our first and second running backs are back. We got Brendan Presley, who I think is the most dynamic receiver in the state. And a lot of good guys coming back on both sides of the ball. And so things are optimistic in Bixby.
Excellent. Well, that's good. Well, we want you to enjoy yourself. And there's one right down Memorial, Jimmy's Egg. And we certainly want you to go. Jimmy's Egg is our sponsor. And we appreciate you coming and bringing that gold ball for us.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Laura Montgomery, the head football coach of the state champion Bixby Spartans of 6A2. 12 on record, his 9th season there at Bixby. Right now, our man J.B. Haney has an update on GTR, the Greater Tulsa Reporter papers.
Well, there's one thing about the GTR that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon do such a tremendous job. They have 6 of these that cover metropolitan Tulsa. And if you want to read something about local politics, maybe local religion, sports, they have great sports articles in there. And just about anything you want, you can find in the GTR. And as a result of that, that's why they are so successful in all 6 areas of metropolitan Tulsa. Pick one up today. You'll not be sorry.
Oklahoma Sports Scene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints. the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. All served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. S&B Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
Great news, Primeaux Mitsubishi is again #1 in sales in Oklahoma. I've made some key changes. Next time you come in, you'll see some very familiar faces. Mitsubishi has increased discounts on all 2018 Mitsubishis. Save up to $3,000 on the all-new Eclipse Cross and up to $4,000 on other models. All Mitsubishis come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Come see us at Primeaux Mitsubishi, 15309 South Memorial, or on the web at PrimeauxMitsubishi.com.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Jimmy's Egg, and we have a great guest today, a historian for the Tournament of Champions, which will be in December 27, 28, 29. Our good friend, Terrell Lester. Terrell, good to have you.
Thank you. My goodness, what a great place to be, and what a great subject to discuss, the Tournament of Champions.
Absolutely. The 54th.
Wow.
Annual Tournament of Champions.
That makes JV and I just about two of the oldest guys around, because we were both there at the beginning.
I tell you what, 54 years ago went by real quickly, didn't it? But that was an unbelievable first tournament.
Well, it's the first tournament, and now 54 years later, here we are, and it's even a better tournament now. We've had great people running the thing, and our host here, Gil Cloud, of course, is right there. But at the same time, what a great tournament it is for high school basketball, in Oklahoma. This is a big time tournament.
I think it is. I think one of the things that really helps us is the venue. We play at the Mabee Center, which is the host venue for 5 and 6A basketball almost every year. Right. They haven't been able to find a place that is as good with the parking and with the seating. And, of course, there's not a bad seat in the Mabee Center.
And they can look for all they want. They'll never find a better place. You've got a quality basketball tournament. You've got a quality field every year. And you have a quality environment to hold this tournament. It's just a big time affair.
Well, Terrell, as the historian, give us some history. How did this all come about some 54 years ago?
Well, it was following up to the Kansas Tournament of Champions. Eddie Sutton was at Tulsa Central at the time, and he was playing at the Tournament of Champions in Kansas. He comes back. Wayne Mason of Tulsa World had gone up with him in '65 to cover the tournament. He came back and suggested that, boy, we ought to have a tournament like this in Oklahoma. And working for the Tulsa World, he approached a couple of Tulsa schools. Nobody seemed to be ready to pull the trigger and say yes, except for Doug Duggar at Memorial. Doug Duggar said, well, sure, this sounds like a good idea. We'll play small schools against the big schools. We'll invite 4 small schools, 4 big schools, give them a chance to play each other. And so they started holding it at Memorial. JV was in the first one. I took over for Wayne Mason that year before the tournament, so I was there for tip-off of the first one. Wow. JV was a 2A school at Seminole. He gets beat by a Class C school. You never miss a chance to bring that up. He loses to Class C Preston and Charlie Wallace, but Class B Inola wins it that first year. They beat the Oklahoma City School Northeast with Ray Russell, one of the great players in Oklahoma history. Wow. That just set the tone for a tournament to follow all these years later. The small schools have had a lot of success in the tournament, but it all started with that first idea. And I believe if a Class B school had not won it that first year, it might not have been going over quite as well as it did, but that just launched it.
Kind of a Hoosier story.
It was a real Hoosier story because it was frozen. The grounds were frozen. The snow was falling. The temperature was about 25 degrees on that Saturday night, and Inola turns out in mass. They defeat Memorial in the finals after they defeat Northeast in the semifinals. They beat Memorial at home at the finals. And so from then on, it was just immaculate. It was just a great, great field and a great tip-off.
You know, as the tournament has grown, and we've changed venues. We were at the fairgrounds for a while, and we were at Memorial for a while, and now we're at the Mabee Center. One of the great things I think for our student athletes is to experience that venue and play in a big time Division I college facility. I think they do. We had a young lady here not long ago on our student athlete advisory committee. We were talking about what is the combination of your senior year, and she said, "My God, it doesn't get any better than this." We played in the Tournament of Champions, we played in the BOK Showcase, and went to the state tournament back at the Mabee Center again. So it's a great opportunity, I think, for kids to play in a really structured, big venue with the big little concept, which we have. And
when we first started, it was in January. Mike Brown and Tulsa Public Schools got together in about '89, I believe it was, and moved it to the holiday slot. So now we've got a big time tournament and a big time date between the Christmas holidays and New Year's. That it's the only game in town. You've got a quality place to play. Now it's just there. It just runs itself now from attractions.
And I think it is so great that they've added girls to it. Now it is girls and boys. It was only boys.
Right.
So now both of them, I think it makes it better.
Well, I've told you, and you and I know for a fact that you can go out there at 9 o'clock on any given morning, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 9 o'clock in the morning, the Mabee Center, popcorn and basketball. It just doesn't get any better than that.
It sure doesn't. I tell you, the field this year is really, we have more number one teams in this year's field than we've had in the last 7 years.
So give them those dates and ticket information, Coach.
December 27, 28, and 29. And you can call our office at 918-746-6453 for advance tickets, or they'll be online if you go to the ORU website. You can get your advance tickets there, and they're half price when you do that.
And we'll tell you, Terrell Lester is also our historian for Tulsa Public Schools Athletics Hall of Fame. That's coming up January 17th. So, Terrell, you'll be back before then to talk about our nominees.
And I'm always looking forward to talking about those Hall of Fame inductions.
Oh, it's really going to be fun. And we want you to go to Jimmy's Egg in the morning.
That's a Hall of Fame thing there.
Absolutely.
This is just too good to be true. Thank you very much.
Terrell Lester, our tournament of champions and our Tulsa Public School Athletic Hall of Fame historian. We'll be back with our Remington Report right after this.
2 Triple Crowns in the last 4 years have reawakened America to the magnificent thoroughbred. And now, we've got our own triple to celebrate. 3 decades of excitement. Don't miss the final stretch of Remington's 30th Thoroughbred season with 2 special race days, plus your chance at hot bets and bigger money bingo during the season closer and 400 grand Springboard Mile December 16th. Remington's 30th, thoroughly thrilling.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
Robertson Tire has been locally owned and serving Tulsa for the past 50 years, but we're much more than a tire shop. We handle alignments, oil changes, brakes, and much more. For all our services, coupons, and location information, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
The Remington Park Thoroughbred race season is about to come to an end. Dale Day, track announcer, is going to give us a preview of the last big stakes of the season.
The $400,000 Springboard Mile headlines the final race date of the 2018 Thoroughbred season at Remington Park, taking place on Sunday, December 16th. In the Springboard, for the first time ever, it's highly likely that a Grade 1 stakes winner will be in the field. Mind Control won the Grade 1 Hopeful Stakes at the end of the Saratoga season in upstate New York in September. After a 7th place run in the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile in November at Churchill Downs, the connections of Mind Control immediately circled the Springboard Mile as the next race for their talented 2-year-old. Locally based stakes winners who could be in the Springboard include Starling, winner of the Oklahoma Classics Juvenile in October, and Detoes, winner of the Don McNeil Memorial Stakes on November 24th. 86, Deto's opens up. Cowboy Mischief now chasing into second. Farther back, Dak the Man and Dobbins G at the furlong pole. Deto's still there by length, but Cowboy Mischief continuing to grind away. Deto's digs in. Cowboy Mischief not making up any more ground now. It's going to be Deto's. Deto's takes the McNeil Memorial by 2. The victory was the second in a row for Deto's. Meantime, Starling finished out of the money behind the winner in the McNeil. Both Starling and Deto's are Oklahoma breds. The Springboard will lead a huge final day of the season. A total of 6 stakes races are on the agenda, with a 12-race program expected. The total purses for the day will be in the $1 million range. The first race on December 16th is at 3 p.m. At Remington Park in Oklahoma City, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sports Scene.
Now's the time to kind of recap what's going on with the Oklahoma City Thunder over in the city there, and NBA basketball action, and our own Tulsa Oilers here with hockey action. I guess, JV, the Thunder's been red hot lately.
You know, they really have been winning 7 out of their last 10 games, but I think they've gotten to the point to where they are looking that they could catch up with any of the others. I mean, it's there's just a lot of teams that are very even, I think, in the NBA.
They're like leading the NBA in defense, coach. They're playing great defense.
Yes.
Boy,
if they get everybody well, they would be in good shape.
Setback for Robertson.
Right.
He's going to be out longer. That's a tough one on that, though. Next home games, by the way, for the Thunder in Oklahoma City, December 10th, they'll host Utah. December 12th, the New Orleans Pelicans come into the center there. All right, Oilers hockey update, and coach, they've been red hot.
Well, I tell you, they just ended a 6-game win streak with a 6-4 loss to Kansas City, but they're in town on December 6th playing Wichita. That's the old rival, Wichita. That's right. That's one of those, up by 35 deals. And then they'll be at Toledo on the 7th, and then Kalamazoo on the 8th. They go on the road, and they got to stay out there because you can't cost too much to travel back and forth.
That's right. And 7-game road trip they're about to start on, too.
Absolutely.
Of course, they started the season with 8 on home ice.
Right.
That worked pretty well. We're going to have Coach Murray on pretty soon with us and kind of wrap up the Oilers and what's going on with them and get more information on that as well. And of course, we also look forward to having some features with the Thunder as well coming up this year. Well, guys, we have coming up now Primeaux, Mitsubishi, and Tulsa World Oklahoma Prep Coach and Player of the Month in November, and some great ones to choose from coming up.
2 outstanding individuals. I think you're going to be really surprised about the student athlete.
That's right.
Not so surprised about the coach.
Both have state championships.
Always.
And, of course, Henry Primeaux's got some memorabilia for us. We always look forward to that, don't we?
He will have something that you won't even believe. We haven't seen it, so we don't know what it is, but you won't believe it when you see it.
So you better stay with us and believe it.
Great news. Primeaux Mitsubishi is again #1 in sales in Oklahoma. I've made some key changes. Next time you come in, you'll see some very familiar faces. Mitsubishi has increased discounts on all 2018 Mitsubishis. Save up to $3,000 on the all-new Eclipse Cross and up to $4,000 on other models. All Mitsubishis come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Come see us at Primeaux Mitsubishi, 15309 South Memorial, or on the web at PrimeauxMitsubishi.com.
What we see isn't always what we get. A smile can hide 100 struggles. Depression, anxiety, addiction, and eating disorders affect more people than you realize. People you know. At Laureate Psychiatric Clinic and Hospital, we offer a wide range of inpatient and outpatient services to help anyone with any degree or form of mental illness. Laureate and St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Jimmy's Egg. We have our 2 regular first of the month guests here, Barry Lewis from the Tulsa World and Henry Primeaux, our tremendous car dealer from Bixby, Oklahoma.
Bixby.
Barry, Who is the player of the month?
Our player of the month is Midwest City Carl Albert running back Dadrian Taylor. Nicknamed as Rabbit, he had an incredible month. In 5 games, he scored 15 touchdowns, including 5 against Collinsville in the semifinals when he rushed for 315 yards. He missed a month earlier in the season with a knee injury, but he came back when he was really ready to roll in November when it counted the most. So Dadrian Rabbit Taylor of Midwest City Carl Albert is our athlete of the month.
Congratulations. Well done. And the state championship just keeps going. You're going to have a state championship to get this plaque, right?
Absolutely. This is tough competition.
And the coach of the month is?
And the coach of the month is Bixby football coach Lauren Montgomery, who just finished leading the Spartans to their 4th Class 6A2 state title in 5 years. And in the year he didn't win, they finished a very close second to losing to Booker T in last year's championship game. But what an amazing job Coach Montgomery again did this year. Not many people were picking Bixby in the preseason to win the state title, despite their past success, because they'd graduated so many outstanding players from last year. They had a sophomore quarterback, but what a tremendous job Coach Montgomery did. After losing to Jenks in the opener, Bixby reeled off 12 consecutive wins, capped by the victory against an undefeated Stillwater team in the 6A2 state championship, which I guess occurred just after midnight when it finished up in December. So Lord Montgomery is the coach of the month.
Great job, too. And Bixby, of course, the home of Primeaux Mitsubishi. And Henry,
that's right.
How was your Thanksgiving? You were down in New Orleans?
Was down in New Orleans, first time in 58 years. The kiddies didn't eat compliments of us, but we ate with some friends of ours and watched the Saints kill Atlanta. But then, of course, they played Dallas, and I don't think they won that.
Yeah, a little upset there, I know.
I'm not sure.
And we know Henry, of course, always has some great sports memorabilia for us here. We look forward to that. So, Henry, what do you have for us today?
Well, I have a hat, and I met the big boy, and I had nothing from the sign but this hat. And somebody else had the hat, and I bought it from him. So it's Michael Jordan signed my it's a nice-looking hat, too.
It is, too.
I got, before I show this one, this is kind of interesting. You can't bring big stuff. This is a Muhammad Ali doll.
Whoa.
And these things are hot as a firecracker now. And I have another one, and I couldn't fit it in my bag this morning. It's Ali and Frazier.
Oh, wow.
During their fight with the little ring and everything else in it. But I thought everybody would like to say I like to keep everybody up to date on Muhammad. Now, this one, my man puts me in the paper with Mr. Clark. I got him to sign this.
Oh my goodness!
That same day, so I really appreciate him. And he and I have done other things together, and it was a real sad deal that he passed. And of course, my last two, I have 2 books here, and I collect presidential memorabilia, and I have a collection of books of all the presidents. And I've got these 2 by George H.W.
Oh my goodness.
I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see. Hopefully, it'll show up soon. There it is. And this
signed copy. Wow.
Yeah, this is one. Is speaking of freedom. It's his letters, and this one is All the Best George Bush. And this was a book he wrote after he was president. And I collect the entire series, and so I thought I'd bring that today.
Oh, nice!
Because our buddy Mr. Clark and our buddy the Prez, and they're honoring him. And here's one that you just don't see all the time, and we know he's very prolific. And this is a World's Fair premium that Babe Ruth signed.
Wow!
And he did this obviously during the World's Fair. And I'm not sure exactly which one that is, but this is the iconic photograph of the Babe.
Yeah.
And so, you see signatures on balls, and some of them are great, and some of them are not so good. But you very seldom see one this big. And I've got another one that's the first All-Star game. It's the first cover that he signed. It's in the pit of memorabilia. I'm trying to look at that. We'll try to do this, and I'll try to bring Muhammad and Joe
for the big fight. Maybe we can.
That'd be fun.
Maybe Barry and I can kind of.
There we go.
Well, we're going to have the best of Henry Primeaux on our year-end show. We'll be taping that on the 31st and aired right after the first of the year, so you won't want to miss that with some of our highlights of the best. I don't know how we can pick those, though, Gil.
They're going to be unbelievable.
Wow,
Everything that Henry's brought. My goodness.
And we have something for both these guys, right?
Yeah, we sure do today.
Oh, boy, a Jimmy's egg.
That's right.
Egg.
Right there in Bixby.
Another Jimmy's egg. Barry's all Jimmy's egg. He made the all Jimmy's egg team.
All Jimmy's egg team. That's right.
Well, thank you guys for being with us.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. We're going to come back. We'll have our say. Parting shots are next on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brewhouse? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
2 Triple Crowns in the last 4 years have reawakened America to the magnificent thoroughbred. And now, we've got our own triple to celebrate. 3 decades of excitement. Don't miss the final stretch of Remington's 30th Thoroughbred season with 2 special race days. Plus your chance at hot bets and bigger money bingo during the season closer and 400 grand springboard mile December 16th. Remington's 30th. Thoroughly thrilling.
Welcome to Jimmy's Egg. Come on in.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lover's skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, you won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
We're back with our parting shots, and Gil Cloud leads us off with a very special coach to talk about.
What do you do when you're 70 years old? You take a Division I football job? Are you serious? Well, if you're Bill Snyder, you do. Bill Snyder retired yesterday at age 79 from Kansas State University and probably orchestrated one of the greatest turnarounds in college football history. They had won 4 times in 44 years previous to him coming there. And for 27 years, on 2 different occasions, with a 3-year hiatus in the middle, he went to 19 bowl games. Can you imagine at 79 what an impact that man has had on the number of lives that he touched during those 27 years as the head coach at K-State? We love you, Bill Snyder. Thank you for what you did.
I'd like to encourage people to support the high school sports during the winter. And I know we've had some great football teams and enjoyed them so much, but there's so many young men and women that are participating in winter sports that they need you to be there and support them. Let them know that you enjoy what you're seeing. And it's so important to them to develop in their life a success in some form of sports. So please, get out there and support them this winter, all of the sports.
Well, we have now crowned 8 conference champions. We have also decided on who will be playing in the college football playoffs. The semifinals will be held on December 29th. The Oklahoma Sooners, of course, playing the Alabama Crimson Tide on December 29th in the Orange Bowl. And it'll be Clemson against Notre Dame down at the AT&T Stadium earlier that afternoon. It all started, of course, the bowl season on December 15th. It runs through January 7th. That's when they play the national championship game at Levi Stadium in San Francisco. Well, 2018-19 college bowl season consists of 40 games. That's 80 teams. Now, 80 teams. Think about this. They at least have a minimum of 6-6 record. Do we need that many bowl games? Of course not. Are they going to make money of them? Probably not many of them will make money. I mean, how many chances do you think of selling tickets to the Cherry Bundy Boca Raton Bowl, or the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl, or how about the Dollar General Bowl, or the Cheez-It Bowl, or the Red Box Bowl? Seriously? Bowls are supposed to be a reward for teams. I understand that, but it sounds more and more to me, Coach, like it's one of those damn participation trophies. Everybody gets one. All right, guys, it's been quite a show. A lot of champions to talk about, and I guess the big topic, of course, is going to be leading up all the publicity on the national finals and semifinal games.
No question, and we got down to the 4. And it was a 4 that we thought after all the games were over would come out. But there were some other things in there. And I've said this before, You have the coalition of the Super 5, but only 4 can make it. So by formula, one conference is going to be let out. This year, 2 conferences were let out.
Right, yeah.
At some point in time, we've got to suck our pride up, say we've made a mistake, we need to go to 8.
A lot of people are talking about that. Instead of conference championship games, if they'd gone the seeding like that, you'd have like this week you'd have had, last week you'd had
1 versus 8.
You had Ohio State at Notre Dame. You had Oklahoma at Georgia. Those some great football games.
Absolutely.
There. But it couldn't have worked out better for OU for the weekend.
You bet. Oh,
Wow.
it was great for OU, and I think they owe really Alabama.
Yeah, that's right.
And in the end, Ohio State just couldn't get there because of the bad loss to Purdue.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. And Georgia had a 20-point loss to LSU. So I mean,
Join us next, Oklahoma Sports Scene. David Alexander with the state champion trophy for the Broken Arrow Tigers. Next on Oklahoma Sports Scene. See you then.